Hey guys, Sword here, back again with yet another overdue review for yours truly anyways. But today we'll be taking a look at the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Spirit Iron Knife. Now before we get into the meat and taters of this review, kindly moving Mr. Iron Knife out of the way here so we can take a look at both front and the back of the packaging. A lone tier for the G.I. Joe Classified Series window box, because this is one of the last window boxes in this line. It's pretty decent artwork. I usually don't comment on the artwork for a lot of these packages because I just do this with them. But the G.I. Joe artwork is, for the most part, pretty nice. So, bringing Mr. Iron Knife back into frame here. And I gotta tell you, after messing around with this guy for a couple of days now, Storm Shadow's got to run for his money with this one. I really like this figure. So, before this drags on any longer than it most likely will, let's take a look at the accessories. Starting off with his two knives, shanks, or scalpers. So he can stab you, shank you, or scalp you one. Because what would a guy named Iron Knife be without two iron knives? Now, I'm not sure if these are made out of iron or not, but they are two totally different sculpts. This one has this kind of sharp edge here, and this one is a little bit more flat. It has some serrated bits on the back there. So that is really cool. I really like that. There is, of course, places to store these on his person as well. All G.I. Joe Classified Series, which is one thing I really love about this line. I don't gotta throw a bunch of crap in a bag most of the time. That said, he does come with a sidearm, which I'm pretty sure is recycled from Duke and Flint and Beachhead and the Viper, and I don't know who else would come with this, but it's a very common gun in this line, so I doubt it's new. Or at least sidearms are very common in this line, I should say. Then, of course, he comes with a sniper rifle, because they changed Spirit here from a scout to a sniper, which does kind of go hand in hand. I mean, you kind of got to scout out the area before you can snipe somebody, right? Right? I don't know. I don't know jack diddly squat about military formations, so please don't take that literally, but I don't know. I don't mind Spirit being a sniper. I will say, missed opportunity for no kickstand on this. It does have a removable clip, though, which does stay in there nice and snug. It does not fall out, so that's nice. And it can plug onto the backpack here, which has a singular peg. I wish they'd do like two pegs in the back, just so these things were a little bit more secure, but it's fine the way it is, I guess. That said, you can plug the sniper rifle onto the side here if you're not a Nimrod like me and line it up with the trigger guard. There you go. Now, I am a little concerned that one of these days I'm going to get one of these guns and the trigger guard's going to snap on it, but either way, you can put it on like that. That's how I do it. Kind of makes it look like he's got an antenna sticking off his backpack, but to put it the other way, it'd be hanging too low. So that's why I do it that way. Would it be hanging too low? It wouldn't be able to get onto his back. And this way it's more flush against the backpack. So take that for what you will. That's how it fits for me. Might have a better way to do it. And then to top it all off, he comes with a friggin' eagle. If that wasn't enough, he comes with a bird. Little birdie. Whose name is Freedom, I believe. And he actually has some articulation. Or she. Is it a he or a she? I don't know. I know Timber's a he, but I'm more well-versed in Snake Eyes knowledge than Spirit knowledge, unfortunately. But as far as Freedom's articulation goes, he's got a double ball peg in the head. I actually would have preferred like a disc hinge on this guy, just so you can get him to look down a little more. But it's enough. He's got ball pegs in the wings here, which you can pop off to brutally maim him, which is illegal, by the way. You can't hunt eagles in the U.S., at least not bald eagles, because I think it's because they're either endangered or it's the national bird. But anyways, you get some swappable open wings here, which plug right into the side. so you can be all caw. That said, see that ball joint range a little better with these, because they ain't all folded up. But he does have some rotation in the hips there. I don't think they're ball jointed. No, they're not. And his feet do rotate. And he does have little tabs on the bottom of his feet, so you could plug him into the backpack like the vintage figure. But that's kind of a pain in the butt. So to save time, I'm going to refrain from doing that until the very end. He does have some spots on his arm as well, his left arm in particular. So that's really cool, man. I mean, for, what is it, $22.99, I think is what this guy retailed for. You get a freaking bird, you get a rifle and a backpack, you get a sidearm, you get 2 knives, and for the same price, you get a repainted Marvel Legends figure with maybe a pair of hands and a bath piece to something I could give a rat's arse about. So, you know what? G.I. Joe just seems to prove to me that they are the best Hasbro brand, maybe alongside Transformers. I can't speak on behalf of Transformers because I didn't buy a whole lot in 2022. Unfortunately, not a lot of Beast Wars love last year, so it is what it is. But taking a closer look at Mr. Spirit Iron Knife here, another Native American character, and much like I said before in the Nightwolf from Mortal Kombat review last week, I love me some Native American characters, and this guy definitely hits the spot when it comes to that. But as far as articulation goes, his head is on a double ball peg, and look at the range. Marvel Legends team needs to start taking notes, because G.I. Joe's even doing this better. Like, what the crap? That said, he can look down really well. He can tilt side to side, look side to side. He's got the Willie Nelson braids going on with the headband there. Good buddy T-Biz, shout T-Biz, said I should start doing that because my hair's getting that long. I don't think I could rock this look as good as Spirit here. I think I'd look like a doofus. That said, he's got butterfly joints. This one was a little stuck on mine, but a little cold water kind of solidified it up so I could crack it and get it to work, so that's fine. Shoulders can go out pretty far. They can rotate forward and back, and I believe this guy's using some of the Duke mold, if I'm not mistaken, but the torso's definitely new because he doesn't have that rubber overlay piece. So maybe it's the Flint body, because Flint did have that vest piece that covered most of his torso, so can't really see the buck underneath. That said, the shoulders feel new. I think Duke's were a little bit more squared off. That said, he does have bicep swivel, double elbow that works pretty well. On this side, he's got a hinge that goes in and out on the wrist, as well as rotates, whereas on this side, you not only have that gauntlet to help with freedom, but you do have the appropriate hinge on the wrist there, as well as a swivel on top of that. And yeah, that kind of sucks. I wish they would give this side the up and down hinge instead of the in and out one, but it is what it is. It's good enough, I suppose. Worst case scenario, you put freedom on the backpack and you put the rifle in this hand, maybe. That said, he does have an ab crunch. Goes about that far forward, that far back. Nice and tight. Not like Crocmaster that had a little bit of Flopodopolis to it. Does have a waist twist. That ball jointed waist that can kind of tilt a little bit, but not really. Now the hips on this guy. I'm going to just talk about this briefly because we all hate the drop down hips in this line. They're very, I wouldn't even say they're that fragile, but they're very problematic. So first and foremost, the drop down hips on mine worked fine out of package. They drop down and they go back up. That's all fine and dandy. His hips, on the other hand, the rotation forward and back, yeesh. I had to blast this guy with a hairdryer to be comfortable moving this. And I still gingerly move it, like ever so slightly, kind of shimmy it up, like so. And I would advise anyone who feels the slightest bit of resistance with these and can't shimmy it up without heating it, just freaking heat it, man. Don't break your toys, especially not one as good as Spirit here, because I've seen people stress these joints out and break them, whether it was on Spirit or even the Mindbender, which was that a Comic-Con or a Pulse exclusive or whatever? Not an easy figure to get, so just be careful. Hashtag don't break your toys. Always use a bit of precaution with some of these joints, because I think the main problem with these is they have little notches on the ball pegs, and they really don't need them because these are tight enough without those. I mean, I blasted this guy with the heat in his hips while they were butter smooth. They weren't loose. They weren't flopping all over the place. So maybe they could, you know, stand to sand those down, and maybe we won't have that problem anymore, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. But I think the Joe team is more than willing to make some changes for the better of the line. They just seem like those kinds of people. That said, he does have a thigh cut that works pretty well. He's got a double knee. He's got a boot swivel right there. He's got a hinge in the foot with a rocker joint and peg holes at the bottom of the feet, but he stands okay. His feet aren't too loose on mine. But that said, why don't we equip this guy with some of his weapons? Starting off with the iron knives here. Let's say that this one goes up here, like that. And this one goes in the holster on the side. The sheath. Actually, no, that's the wrong one. This one goes down here. This one goes down hither. Like so. Yeah, that's a little bit less snug of a fit. And then this one goes up here. And then his pistol, you can put on this side. I'm pretty sure that this gun holster is also reused from Duke, but that's fine. I have no problem with that. As far as the backpack goes, I'll take the rifle off for now. I'll put it in his hand before we look at size comparisons, I guess, just to save on time. But there is Spirit ready to go. Can I get this in his hand quick? It's a little tricky, but there we go. Just gotta wedge it in there. That's what she said. There's Spirit ready to scalp some punk arse Cobra Troopers. I freaking love this figure, man. Spirit's definitely got to run for his money with this one. Spirit. Storm Shadow's definitely got to run for his money with this one, because this figure is, as the kids say, hot fire. So yeah, I said a dated 2000s term. What you gonna do about it? I can't lie, man. This figure's great. After reviewing that dumpster fire of a century figure yesterday, I mean, check that out if you want. It's not my greatest work ever, I must say, but I gotta provide the facts in these reviews, and the fact of the matter is G.I. Joe Classified's just firing on all cylinders this past year, and it only seems to me like they're going to get better, so long as the QC doesn't slip through the cracks. You guys know how I feel about that. But with that being said, before this review drags out any longer than it already has, let's now move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is Spirit Iron Knife, alongside a couple of my absolute favorite figures from the G.I. Joe Classified series, Ninja Snake Eyes, the very first figure I got from this line. And I guess I got the luck of the draw with that one, because mine isn't loosey-goosey and Mr. Floppadopoulos like some people's I've heard. Then we also have Storm Shadow, who was my #1 G.I. Joe Classified series figure of 2022, but as I said before, good old Spirit here is giving Storm Shadow a run for his money. So we'll see how that turns out when I eventually get around to making my top 10 videos. But one thing to note, I knew about the rivalry between Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, but I did not know of the one between Storm Shadow and Spirit here. So if anyone would like to chime in and let me know how that turned out, I would very much like to know. It seems very interesting to me. And last, but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, the Mythical Legions, Brother Mandibulus, the beloved Spawn, who as usual, towers over everyone. And I'm very curious how good old Al Simmons here would get along with Mr. Iron Knife. Maybe they would be best buds. maybe they'd be arch rivals. You decide. So with that being said, time to wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and do I really need to tell you how good this figure is? Of course I don't. You already know. A, because this is an older release in the G.I. Joe Classified Series line brought to us by the fine folks over at Hasbro. But B, it's just that good. You watch this review. If you stay tuned long enough to check out the final thoughts, A, thank you, and B, you know how good this figure is. It's a great figure. It may potentially be my G.I. Joe Classified Series figure of the year. Definitely giving Storm Shadow a run for his money, if I do say so myself, because that figure was a really super duper strong release. But as far as the complete overall package is concerned, I feel like there is literally almost nothing they could have added to this figure to make it better than it already is. I mean, we got the freaking bird with swappable wings, for crying out loud. What more could you possibly need? Maybe a kickstand for the sniper rifle? Maybe, but other than that, there's nothing else I can really think of off the top of my head. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you're so inclined, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. If you haven't already, please hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when all of Hasbro's properties don't get a fair share of budget. So all their releases can be as good as good old Spirit Iron Knife here. So with that being said, till next time, I'll catch you guys later.